Good morning, everyone. Last time we have continued with the third topic, population. In last lecture, we have explained first two characteristics of the population, such as population density and the natality. Today, we are going to explain the third characteristic of the population, that is mortality or death rate. So the mortality or death rate can be defined as the number of individual dies in a population in a given area in a definite period of time, called as death rate. So number of individuals. So total number of individuals which die from a population in a given area at a given time is called as mortality or death rate. If the mortality is less than natality, then there will be an increase in a number of individuals in a given population. Means when the death rate or the mortality rate is less than natality or birth rate, then it shows a gradual increase in a number of individuals in a particular population, and this is the death rate at ideal conditions. This is the death rate at ideal conditions. Means when the environmental conditions are optimum and are ideal, during that time the individuals usually die due to the physiological changes of the old age. So for the cause of death among the individuals of the population is mainly due to the old age, and this happens usually in the environment when the conditions are suitable or the at optimum level, satisfying or fulfills all the requirements of the organisms adequately. And during that time only, the rate of mortality or death rate is usually less than the natality or the birth rate. And this type of mortality, when the mortality is less than the natality or the death rate is less than birth rate, then is called as a minimum mortality, and this minimum mortality is called as potential mortality. When the conditions, environmental conditions are optimum or the suitable, at that time there is a minimum mortality, and this minimum mortality is called as a potential mortality. And this minimum mortality or the rate of potential mortality is usually remains constant. Usually the potential mortality rate of minimum mortality or a potential mortality remains constant. The actual or realized or the ecological mortality is the actual loss of individuals under a given environmental conditions. So, the optimum level of the environment, and sometimes there are certain conditions which may disfavors the climatic conditions or the environmental conditions, and during that time the actual death rate is different or may be more than the minimum mortality or the potential mortality. So the actual or realized or the ecological mortality is the actual loss of individuals under a given environmental condition, and this rate of death or realized mortality rate is not constant. Means it is changing continuously as per the environmental conditions or as per the fluctuations in the or changes in the environment, and this may leads to the increased rate of mortality, and thus the actual loss of the individuals from a given population may be more than the minimum mortality or a potential mortality, and thus this actual mortality or realized mortality is not constant all time, but is changing. Its rate is not constant. The actual mortality or realized mortality rate is not constant. The mortality can be calculated by the formula as death rate equal to death rate represented by letter small d equal to number of deaths per unit time divided by average population. Death rate can be calculated by the formula as a death rate represented by the letter small d equal to number of deaths per unit time divided by average population. So this is about the definition of the death rate. Means I repeat it again. I repeat the definition. The mortality or the death rate can be defined as the number of individuals die in a population or from a population in a given area in a definite period of time or in a unit time is called as mortality. If the mortality is less than natality, then there will be a gradual increase in a number of individuals in a given population. And this kind of situation happens during the optimum level or the ideal conditions of the environment. So this is the death rate at the ideal conditions or the optimum conditions of the environment, and usually the deaths occur due to the physiological changes of the old age. So the individuals dies usually at the stage of old age or in the old age due to the physiological changes in them, but not due to some other uh, factors of the environment, but due to the physiological change in them, so or due to the old age only. And this type of death rate is usually less. Mortality rate or death rate is less than the birth rate or the natality. And this minimum mortality is called as a potential mortality, and rate of potential mortality or minimum mortality usually remains constant or its rate is a constant. So the rate of mortality usually is less than the natality rate. The rate of mortality is usually less than the natality rate, or the death rate is usually less than the birth rate in a optimum or the ideal conditions of the environment. During that time, what happens? There is a gradual increase in a number of population. There is a gradual increase in a number of individuals in a given population, and thus this type of death rate at the ideal conditions is mainly due to the physiological changes of the old age among the individuals, and this mortality is called as a potential mortality and its rate is constant. But the actual mortality or a realized mortality or a ecological mortality is the actual loss of the individuals under a given environmental conditions. So the environmental conditions are not constant all the time or throughout the year, but the environmental conditions always changing, and as per the environmental changes, the rate of mortality may increases or may changes due to a certain, maybe due to certain adverse conditions or the unfavorable conditions of the environment. The mortality rate or the death rate may increase, and the actual loss of the individuals or the death of individuals under such conditions may increase. The death rate may be more. The death rate may be more than the natality rate. And thus, this actual or realized or the ecological mortality is not constant all the time. The minimum mortality or the potential mortality usually remains constant, but the actual mortality or realized mortality is changing. The rate of actual or realized mortality is not constant. The death rate can be calculated by the formula small d is equal to number of deaths per unit of time divided by average population. So this is the formula which we can use for the calculation of death rate or the mortality rate. Then as the population increases, the death rate also increases until an equilibrium is reached. So this is a sentence we can state or which can consider that as the population or the number of individuals increasing in a given population, ultimately the death rate also increasing. So this is because of the individuals which are produced has to die after its age. So after its aging, it has to die. So when the number of individuals in a population is increasing, ultimately the death rate also increasing until an equilibrium is reached. Means there is a equilibrium also. There is a stage uh, which reaches up to the equilibrium level. There is a particular stage which at which the rate of mortality and the rate of death, the rate of mortality or rate of natality are equal. So there is a particular point at which the natality rate and mortality rate reaches to equal or equilibrium level. So as the population increases, the death rate also increases until the equilibrium is reached. Means as per the carrying capacity of the environment, as per the carrying capacity of the environment or the potential of the environment, so as to satisfy or to fulfill or to provide the requirements of the population or the different organisms which needs from the environment for their growth or the sustenance. So it's called as a carrying capacity. So in a particular environment, there are different type of resources which may provide energy or which may provide the requirements of the life or the living organisms or the living entities, and which are either in the form of non-living factors or abiotic factors which are essential for the growth and development or the sustenance of the living factors or the biotic factors. And these resources serves or provides a sort of uh, carrying capacity or a sort of source or resource that fulfill or that provide to the growth and the development of the different individuals or the organisms in a particular area or the particular environment. So as the population increases, death rate also increases, and there may be a equilibrium. There may be a equilibrium at which what happens, the rate of natality equals the rate of mortality. The natality rate and mortality rate equals, and this point this the this particular point is called as a equilibrium or a stable. So population number of individuals or the population in a particular area remains constant or stable further. So as the population increasing, the death rate also increasing, and after certain time or over certain period of time, it reaches to certain stable level. The population remain constant, the number of individuals remain constant, indicating that the rate of mortality and the rate of natality or the birth rate and death rate equals and reaches to the equilibrium, and thereafter the population of the particular region or the area remains stable or the constant. So this is the graph or the image showing a sigmoid curve. The plot, uh, this is the graph which is drawn the population size against the time. So on y-axis we can see there is a population size, that is the number of individuals increasing, and on x-axis the time. So in the initial phase we can see the number of individuals increasing. The number of individuals increasing reaches to a maximum, that is a point of maximum growth in the center of S. In a sigmoid curve or in a S-shaped curve, we can see in a center of the S or in a sigmoid curve, we can see a point of the maximum growth. So at this point, there is a maximum growth, but after which there is a slow decline in a number or the population. So, and after definite period, it remains constant. It is not further growing, but it remains constant or stable. This is the point of equilibrium, and this represents the carrying capacity of the environment. This represents a particular amount of the carrying capacity of the environment. So environment can satisfy or fulfill the requirement of this much number of population. So this much number of population can get their requirement from the surrounding environment adequately. So this is only the population. This is a stable number. This is the stable number of the population or the stable number of the individuals of the population at which the population remain up thereafter the population remains stable. It is not growing or it is not decreasing. So at this level the rate of mortality and the rate of natality are equal. So when the birth rate equals the death rate at controlled conditions of the environment, controlled conditions of the environment means the particular environment will have a definite potential of provision of different parameters or the nutrients, oxygen, water, soil, nutrients, whatever, in a definite amount only, and that this is called as a controlled condition. So when the birth rate equals the death rate at a controlled conditions of the environment, population reaches to certain stable level. Population reaches to certain stable level called as asymptomatic limit. Called as asymptomatic limit. And this type of population growth and this type of population growth pattern is called as a sigmoid curve or S-shaped curve. So this S-shaped curve provides or indicates this S-shaped curve or the sigmoid curve indicates that the birth rate and death rate are equal, and this is due to the controlled conditions of the environment or due to a definite amount of carrying capacity of the environment. So in this type of pattern, in this type of growth pattern, we can see the population reaches to the equilibrium level where the natality rate is equal to mortality rate, and this is due to the a particular amount or a carrying capacity or particular amount or the potential, a definite potential of the environment providing the resources in the form of different type of resources or different type of abiotic factors or the parameters uh, like nutrients, water, oxygen, etc. for the growth and development of the living organisms can be called as a carrying capacity, can be called as a carrying capacity or the potential of the environment so as to satisfy or fulfill the requirements of the living organisms or the individuals or a different type of populations in the environment. So, in the environment, we can observe such type of pattern or this type of growth pattern. We can observe this type of growth pattern in the environment due to a controlled conditions or the definite amount or the potential or the carrying capacity of the environment where the population reaches to certain maximum level and then remain stable, indicating that the birth rate equals the death rate, and such a growth pattern is called as asymptomatic limit, or this type of population growth pattern is called as the sigmoid curve or S-shaped curve, representing the stable population in the environment and or the equilibrium at a definite level. After certain time, the population reaches to equilibrium level where the natality rate and the mortality rate are equal or same. So this is about the mortality. Then fourth characteristic of the population, that is fecundity. Now fecundity refers to the total number of eggs, total, that is absolute fecundity, total number of eggs or absolute fecundity or offsprings, that is total number of offsprings or young ones produced per year. Fecundity refers to the total number of eggs or offsprings produced in a year. So fecundity is again variable. This is a variable parameter found uh, different in a every species or various species. So every species shows variable number of generations or broods or litters. Litter means a definite number of individuals produced at a time. A definite number of individuals, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 12, or maybe more. Number of individuals or young ones can be produced at a time called as a litter or a brood. So, number of broods or number of generation. There are some species which can produce only one individual or only one young one at a time, and there may be one, two, or more generations. and producing that much number of the individuals in a year. There are certain species of the organisms which may produce young ones in the form of broods, means several young ones, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, any number, forming a brood or a litter. So, there are certain species which produce the broods once, twice, thrice in a year. So, every species shows variable number of generations or variable number of broods produced in a year. For example, protozoans. For example, protozoans often divide rapidly mitotically or just like a process of mitosis and produce new generation after few hours. For example, in Paramecium quadratum protozoa, the one Paramecium can undergo the process of its transverse binary fission or divide into two daughter organisms or daughter Paramecia within 2 hours, within 2 hours only, and thus can reproduce asexually and producing new generations and large number of organisms in a day or in a year together. So, protozoans often divide rapidly and produce new generations after every few hours. That is just 2 hours when there is a plenty of food or favorable conditions are present in the water or in the habitat. The parameciums go fast, mature fast, and divide fast through the process of transverse binary fission within only 2 hours and undergoing a generation. Within 2 hours, next generation is produced. Then, in case of planktons, that is microscopic plants, animals, planktons, which are less fecund, planktons, that is microscopic plants or animals, they are less fecund or they produce less number of eggs or less number of offsprings, but may produce new generation in every few days. Even though they are having less fecundity, but they can reproduce within few days. Means rate of reproduction or generation is more. Just like the paramecium. Paramecium means there is asexual reproduction where they undergoes asexual multiplication through the process of transverse binary fission and divides within a few hours, like just like as in a paramecium, they divides within 2 hours and producing new individuals. In case of planktons, they are less fecund, means they are, if they are undergoing the process of sexual reproduction, they are laying less number of eggs or they are producing less number of organisms in a generation, but may produce a new generation in every few days. So, means in a year they can undergo hundreds of or thousands of generations in a year. Then, in case of many vertebrates breed once every year. Many vertebrates breed or undergoes their reproduction only once, means taking place only one generation in a year. They undergo only one generation or breed only once in a year, many vertebrates. But again, there may be number of individual produced in a generation may be one, two, or more. That is brood. They may produce single young one, or they may have more young ones in the form of brood or litters. Then some large animals breed once after every 2 or 3 years. There are certain organisms which undergoes their reproduction or a new generation after 2 or 3 years. After 2 or more years, some large animals breed once after every 2 or 3 years. Means not in a 1 year, means there is no regular process of sexual reproduction or reproduction every year, but they can reproduce alternately. Means there may be a gap or lapse of a year or two during which they do not undergo their breeding activities. Some large animals they breed or reproduce only once after every 2 or 3 years. There are some vertebrates they breed or undergo their reproduction once every year. There are certain large animals they can breed or reproduce after every 2 or 3 years. There are several species of birds and mammals. There are several species of birds and mammals have two or more broods per year. There are several species of birds and mammals which have two or more broods. No doubt these are the two or more generations. The brood will have either one individual, two individual, or three or more number of individuals or the young ones can be produced in a brood. So number of brood may be the number of broods produced per year may be two or more, and each of the brood will may have two, three, or more number of individuals. So there are such several species of the birds and mammals which have two or more broods or two or more generations per year, and each of the brood may have two, three, or more number of individuals in a single brood. For example, rodents like rat, for example, rodents may continue to breed throughout the winter under favorable conditions, and they have enormous reproductive potential. They breed very fast. Every week, uh, they produce a litter, and each of the litter will have number of individuals or the rats, young ones. They may up to 8 to 9 individuals can be produced in a litter or in a brood at one time. So rodents or the rats, they continue to breed or undergo reproduction throughout the winter or throughout the year under favorable conditions, and they have enormous reproductive potential called as prolific breeders, called as prolific breeders, and each of the brood will have about 9 young ones, 8 to 9 young ones or individuals are produced at a time as they are viviparous. So the single female can produce 8 to 9 number of rat or the young ones individuals in mice, and there are uh, several generations. There are several generations taking place in a winter under favorable conditions of the environment. So rodents may continue to breed throughout the winter under favorable conditions, and they have enormous reproductive potential. So fecundity refers to the total number of eggs or total number of offsprings produced by the particular species per year is called as fecundity. The maximum size of litter, the maximum size of the litter, that litter or a brood, that is a number of individuals in a single brood or in a litter or in the form of a group. A litter or a brood or a group of individuals produced by single female at a time, that is a litter. So the maximum size of the litter, that is the number of individuals in a litter, is determined by physiological and morphological conditions of the species. Physiological and morphological conditions of the species. For example, mammals produce viviparous. Mammals produce viviparous young. Means mammals are viviparous, and females giving birth to their young ones, and the number of individuals produced by the particular female in case of mammal will depend upon number of individuals produced by the particular female will depend upon the size of uterus, the size of uterus or a body cavity, and the number of mammary glands for suckling the youngs after birth, acting as a limiting factor for the size or a number of individuals in a litter or in a brood. Getting it? So, the maximum size of the litter, that is the number of individuals produced at a time by a particular female, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 as in case of rat, or up to 12 number as in a pig. In a dogs, there are also about 6 to 8, 4, 5, 6 number of young ones can be produced in a dogs. Or in case of pig, there are 12 number of individuals can be produced in the form of litter or a brood. In a pig, the young ones number or size of litter is 12. In a dog, it is above again 4, 5, 6. In case of rat, it is 8 to 9. So this is in case of sheep, goat, 1, 2, maybe 3. 1, 2, maybe 3. In a cattle, only one. Buffalo, only one. So this depends, the size of the litter or the size of brood depends upon the physiological and the morphological conditions of the female organisms which are undergoing the sexual reproduction, or maybe depending upon the viviparity, oviparity, or ovoviviparity. So that is again different. The fecundity is different in a different. We are going to explain all these things one by one. So, as in case of mammals, the size of the litter or a brood or the number of individuals in a brood or a litter depends upon the size of uterus or the size of body cavity and the number of mammary glands for suckling the young, for suckling the milk, for sucking the milk for the youngs after birth acts as a limiting factor for the size or number of litter. For example, in birds, already we have explained, in case of pig, there are 12 mammary glands. So, the number of litter is obviously up to 12. In case of dog, it is again 4 to 6. In case of cattle, 1. In case of sheep, goat, 1, 2, 3. So this depends upon the mammary glands or the size of the uterus or the size of the body cavity. So body cavity is also having much importance that can accommodate the developing embryo in the uterus. So these are the different factors which are limitations or restrictions for the size or the number of individuals or the litter or the brood produced at a time by the respective species. In birds, another example, in birds, there is a limit on number of eggs which one individual can cover and incubate. In case of birds, there is a limit on number of eggs which one individual can cover and incubate. For example, in hens, or in a chicken, about 2 or 3 dozen, not more than this, about 2 or 3 dozen of the eggs, hens eggs, can be kept or can be incubated by single broody hen. Single broody hen or a female hen, broody hen, can incubate or can cover only 2 or 3 dozen number of eggs at a time. So this is the limitation of the number of eggs which can be incubated by the broody hen so as to provide the warmth, so as to continue the embryonic development in the eggs in all of the birds. So, for example, sparrow, the body size is very much small. So, the female sparrow can incubate only 3, 4, 5, 6 number of eggs under her. So, the size of the organism or the size of the bird or the size of the broody female among the bird is the limitation, and she can cover a definite number of eggs and she can incubate a definite number of eggs at a time only. She can she can incubate a definite number of eggs, or she can incubate definite number of eggs only under her body. So, in birds, there is a limit on number of eggs which one individual can cover and incubate. For example, in case of Deshi hen, you might have seen the female hen can produce about 2 dozen. Usually, about 2 dozen number of 24, 2 dozen number of eggs can be kept under the broody hen, maybe maximum up to 36, but no guarantee to have the chicks, that is 36. There may be change, or there may be irregularity can occur during incubation, and number of the chicks hatching or produced may be less, not exactly the 36. So, whatever the eggs which are covered under the feathers or her body, and the eggs can get optimum temperature, incubation temperature for the period of incubation or the development in the egg. So that much number of eggs can develop normally and hatch into chicks or the young ones. So in birds, there is a limit on a number of eggs which one individual can cover and incubate. The number of eggs or young ones produced per litter is correlated inversely with the parental care that they needs. So listen carefully. The number of eggs or young ones produced per litter is correlated inversely with the parental care that they needs. Means this is again another important factor for the definite number of the litter, or the for the production of definite number of eggs, for the production of definite number of eggs by the female, or for the production of definite number of individuals in a brood or litter by the female. So there is a limitation, and this is again depending upon the parental care. If there is a parental care, or if the parental care is lacking, so that depends upon the uh, inherent feature, or the inherent feature, or the characteristic found among the species where either male or the female individuals can get involved in the process of parental care. Means they get involved in a taking care of their babies or their young ones or their eggs or offsprings, whatever produced. So the parental care. So parental care is very important aspect. If there is a parental care, ultimately the parent individuals, maybe males or the females, can uh, provide, or can practice, or can take care of their young ones or eggs properly. Or there may be definite number of individuals can be protected by the males or females of the particular species. So, parental care. And if there is no parental care, in such cases, the number of eggs and offsprings produced will not have a limit. So, there is no need to think, there is no need to think over the survival of the eggs or offsprings. And in such cases or in such a species where there is no parental care or parental care is lacking, in such cases, the number of brood or the number of eggs produced or the number of generations produced in a year may be vast or the enormous. And this is because of the more chances of their loss due to the predation, maybe due to the predation or the adverse conditions of the environment, the death of large number of eggs or young ones can occur in the environment, might be due to the unfavorable conditions of the environment, or might be due to their predation by the enemies. So the number of eggs or young ones produced per litter is correlated inversely with the parental care. Means if there is a parental care, then certainly the number of individuals produced or the number of eggs produced is limited or the less. And if there is no parental care, the eggs or the young ones produced with a vast or the enormous number. For example, when parental care is completely lacking, when when parental care is completely lacking, invertebrates may lay 1000 to 50 crores eggs at one maturation or per individual during her, because eggs are usually laid by the females during her reproductive life. Means when there is no parental care, when parental care is completely lacking, totally absent, invertebrates may lay or deposit the eggs, number of eggs ranging from 1000 to 50 crores eggs at one maturation or by single female at one maturation. And when and where protection provided, or and another example, and where protection provided means where there is a parental care, and when there is a parental care or the protection provided by brood pouches, they lay 100 to 1000 eggs. Means see, this is the difference in the number of the eggs or the fecundity or the offsprings produced on the basis of just a parental care. If there is a parental care, the number of eggs or individual produced is less. So that depends upon the capacity of the particular parent species, the capacity of the protection or the parental care of the particular parent species, and thus the number of the individual or the eggs produced is ultimately less. That is just 100 to 1000 eggs. 100 to 1000 eggs can be produced and kept or protected in the brood pouches where there is a parental care. Some mammals may give birth to more than dozen young in a single litter, and large species usually only one. For example, some mammals, for example, uh, pig, for example, mammals like a pig which give birth to more than dozen. For example, in case of pig, 1 dozen number of individuals can be produced in a single litter or in a single brood. And in a large species like man or buffaloes or elephant, camel, cattle, buffaloes, even the large animals or the mammals, they usually produce only one individual at a time. So this is what about the fecundity. So today we'll stop here, and next time we'll continue with uh, next characteristic of the population, that is survivorship or survivorship curves. So today with these two aspects or the characteristics, that is the mortality and the fecundity. So we have today finished with the two characteristics of the population, that is mortality and the fecundity. Next time we will continue with the fifth characteristic, that is survivorship curves. Thank you.